Hey everyone, it's BC94XYZ, and we are back, and we are going to start this new thing here. I've decided that as I play my games, I'm going to also review them. I think that this will give you guys a little bit of a better insight as to what you can expect from the game without actually watching me play the game, I guess. If you don't really feel like watching me play, I guess you could look at this and then see, whether or not, if you're like, for instance, you don't want to watch the whole entire thing to decide whether or not you want to buy the game, you could kind of like just skip to this one. And I think that this would be kind of cool just to kind of start reviewing games, because it makes comparisons a little bit better for me while I'm recording as well. I can make cool references and stuff. But anyway, Call of Duty Ghosts. Let's talk about Call of Duty Ghosts. What is this game? This is a game that is based in the future, and it's about basically World War III, where you have the Americans fighting somebody else. The thing about Call of Duty is they never really mention who you're fighting or what country they're from or whatever. But in this one, they didn't really describe who or what we were fighting. In a sense, you started off with this space mission that lasts maybe 5 minutes. And then the next thing you know, we're going to like the Earth, where our two main characters are, experiencing this crash that comes on from a satellite in space, and it's something that, in a sense, is just very random almost, and it doesn't really make sense without the context, which is why they give you the context later on. But back to what we were saying, that they never really mention who you're playing. So I find that kind of interesting that they never really mention who the enemy is. They just say, let's go behind enemy lines. Like, who are we fighting, But the main character is the main story is focused around these two main characters who become part of this operation that their father is in, called the Ghosts. And they're the ones that are trying to gain the United States back, because war has broken out on U.S. soil, and much of it has been captured by these enemies that we don't know about, and we have to try to find them back. So it's an interesting game, to say the least. It's different, if anything. It's a different, totally different direction for Call of Duty than the other games that I've played for Call of Duty. However, with that being said, this has really stirred a lot of controversy. The game itself has really stirred a lot of controversy as to whether or not it's good. I mean, a lot of people have compared this game to the other games and didn't like it at all. And I'm still sort of dumbfounded by that. I think this was a fantastic game. I think that this was one of the best Call of Duties that has ever been released, in all honesty. And a lot of people I know are going to disagree with me on this, but the question is, I'm trying to think of the questions why. I'm trying to think of the questions as to why people consider this game to be bad, and I think the main reason is the multiplayer aspect. I did play a little bit of the multiplayer aspect with some people, and I am going to tell you I was not impressed. The maps were way too big. I got lost. I couldn't find any enemies because the maps were way too big. And of course, you don't have more than 12 players per mission, or not per mission, per round. So it was very strange to me, the multiplayer. concept. I didn't really like it. It's not that it's much easier to die in the multiplayer because, of course, you have to get points. But I don't think that the multiplayer aspect was very good, to be honest with you, and I think that's what brought a lot of people down, because a lot of people play Call of Duty for the multiplayer aspect, not for the campaign. As for the campaign, I can see why people wouldn't like it in some senses. I think it's a very different direction from what Call of Duty originally has gone. It's, if anything, very, very more visual than all the other Call of Duty games. It's not very plot-driven. It kind of just, missions just happen for no reason, and you don't really get explained why. And I understand why that would frustrate people. But on the other hand, I mean, I'm looking back at the campaign, and I'm thinking to myself, this was a very, very good experience. I didn't really have a bad experience with the campaign. It's not because I was on Recruit. It was because I did think that the plot for Call of Duty was very good. I thought that, each mission was kind of formed off the previous one. And so, in the sense of story, it kind of did develop very well. But as for the reasons as to why the next mission occurs is kind of confusing. So that's what I think made this game a little bare, a little dry. But overall, I think the campaign was pretty good. Graphics were spectacular. I think this is definitely a big leap into the next generation graphics, despite the fact that it's 720p. To be honest with you, half the time, if you have a good TV and you're playing with the Xbox One or the PS4, I have an Xbox One, so I'm going to specifically talk about the Xbox One this time. If you have a good TV and you have an Xbox One, one, it will automatically fix the 720p problem. I mean, if you sit far enough away from your TV to where all of the 720p pixels blur together, you are really still going to get a fantastic image. And even if you have a good TV, you're still going to get a fantastic image. I mean, I'm here in my dorm room. I'm sitting pretty close to my TV, and my TV is 40 inches, and which I thankfully bought myself. But it's 40 inches, and I'm sitting like maybe 10, 15 feet away from it. And I mean, not even that. I mean, it's just like, honestly, the 720p problem does not bother me. I mean, to the fact that it looks perfectly fine from where I'm sitting personally. And if you really, really, really want that HD perfect image, you want that experience, then definitely go for the PS4 in this case. They may fix this problem later on. They didn't when it came out with the DLC, but I'm not going to play the DLC. I've already looked at it. I'm not interested. So they didn't really fix it, but on the other hand, they didn't really do anything to make it worse. So despite what people are saying about the 720p problem, it really isn't that big of a problem. If you're not going to buy an Xbox One simply for the fact that you can't see Call of Duty or Tomb Raider or the other games right now in 1080p, then you really have to reevaluate yourself, because, like, in all honesty, it really does not make that much of a difference that it will bother you. You know what I mean? At least it doesn't for me. So if it does for you, then I apologize for insulting you just now. But I don't really think that it's a big problem. I mean, it still looked visually stunning from my TV, which is 1080p, and I'm sitting relatively close to it. So, I mean, I'm probably getting the worst graphics experience possible, and it still looked stunning to me. So, I think that it's good. I think that the graphics are good. Despite what some people may say about the 720p problem. So that's what I have to say about that. Let's talk about the controls for a bit. The control handling was very, very cool. This was my first Xbox One experience, and I have to say that I'm very, very impressed with the reactions from the controller to the screen. I'm not talking about, just necessarily this game. I'm talking about every game that I've played so far on the Xbox One. I mean, the controller, literally, just, you forget it's even in your hand, to be honest with you. I mean, with the 360 and the PS3, I could feel, the controllers in my hand. I knew they were there. This one, it's so light and it just fits in your hand so perfectly that when you're moving the buttons and pressing the buttons and moving all the joysticks around in the D-pad, you're pressing it, and you're pressing the bumpers on the top, you really don't feel the controller in your hand while you're doing it, which is interesting to me because we never thought we would get to that point in life where we would almost feel as if we were controlling the player from the player's perspective, not the controller's perspective. And it's really nice to have that difference. I think that it's a great leap into the next generation for both consoles. I haven't really held a PS4 controller yet, and I have held one. I haven't really played with one yet, but from what I can tell, it's a major improvement from the DualShock beforehand. So I think that that's something that really, really made us leap forward, which is really cool. The tank controls have been a really big problem in Call of Duty in general. I think that the tank controls have been just absolute shit. I think that they've been all the time been really neglected, and in this game they clearly focused on that a lot because this is a much, much, much better improvement for tank controls. I mean, it was immediately responsive as soon as I moved the controller or did something with the controller buttons. It was immediately responsive, which is something that was a really big problem in the other Call of Duties, which it was not responsive at all in the other ones. But this one, it really was responsive, and it's so nice to see that they really did a good job with this. The tanks are more impressive visually. The tanks are more agile controller-wise. It's great. It really was a great change to this whole thing, and I think that that's one aspect that really, really stands out. Okay, so that's really all I have to say about Call of Duty Ghosts. There's not really much else to talk about for Call of Duty Ghosts other than these aspects, just because there's nothing really else to a Call of Duty game in general, So with that, I'm gonna say that if you want to buy Call of Duty Ghosts, I would not necessarily say you'll regret it. I think there are a lot of great aspects about Call of Duty Ghosts that you'll like. The story being, the campaign being one of them. I think the campaign was one of the best campaigns that Call of Duty has seen in a very long time, possibly since Modern Warfare 3. I did not like the Black Ops campaigns at all. I thought they were terrible. Whereas for this one is a great refreshed start, and I think it's really cool. The multiplayer aspect, I guarantee you automatically you will not like. It's not very good. The maps are too big. There's too few people. And yes, while it is beautiful landscapes, it's not a good experience in general. No matter what mode you're playing in, whether it's capture the flag or whether it's like the one with I forget what it's called, but the one where you kill as many people as you can. It's really not a good experience in general. So I don't think if you're going to buy Call of Duty Ghosts for the multiplayer, I would say no to that. I would say stick to the other games. But if you're in it for the next gen experience, if you're in it for the campaign, if you're in it for a new step in the Call of Duty franchise direction, then I would definitely say go for Call of Duty Ghosts. I think it's a great game. It's a great experience, if anything. It's very different than other Call of Duty games, like I said before, which is not necessarily good, but also not necessarily bad. What I'm interested to see is where they go from here. This year's Call of Duty 2014, by the way, should be interesting, if anything. They said that Sledgehammer Games and Activision Games is going to be working on this next one. So, Sledgehammer Games has not worked on the Call of Duty franchise, what the hell was that word? Franchise, since 2009, which was Modern Warfare 3. So everyone is getting really excited because Sledgehammer made the best Call of Duty games, and I think that they wanted to do that ever since they got the negative reactions from this one. So we could possibly be looking at Modern Warfare 4, which would be very exciting because the Modern Warfare story was such a good storyline, and the multiplayer aspect was just perfect. So we'll see what happens. But until the next Call of Duty game, this is BC94XYZ. Thank you for watching this review, and I will see you guys when I see you. Over and out.